Hello, sports fans and football fans. It's me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke. And today, I have a football game for you. We will be playing the 2020 San Francisco 49ers against the 1985 Baltimore Stars from the Let's get right into it. The 49ers will kick off. Now, I have specialized dice for this game. I have the defensive decision die, which is right here. And you can see the word right is on some sides and X is on other sides, and then one side has a question mark. With the question mark, we will use the chart, which I have to obtain, but we will use, let's see. I have a chart right here that we will use when the question mark comes up. When an X comes up, it means that the team is wrong in what they guessed for the defense. And when the word right comes up, that means that they were correct in what they guessed for the defense. And then there's a specialized penalty die, which has an OP and a DP. One side has an OP, one has a DP. That would indicate an offensive penalty, a possible offensive penalty, or a possible defensive penalty. And then the other four sides have nothing on it, and if nothing comes up, that means there's no possible penalty. So with all of that out of the way, we will do the kickoff. San Francisco will kick off, and the kickoff roll is a 9, which is -3 in the end zone, and the Stars will take it on the 20. Now we'll go over the Stars offense. The quarterback is Chuck Fusina, who passed for 3,496 yards. The halfback is Kelvin Bryant. The fullback is Alan Harvin. Flanker is Scott Fitzke. The tight end is Ken Dunick. And the split end is Willie Collier. So, and I will, what else? There was something else that I needed to say. Well, anyway, we'll just get on with it. The first play that the Stars are going to do is a long pass. And they will do a long pass to the flanker. Oh, and by the way, there is a modification to using the specialized dice for guessing right or guessing wrong. If there's an obvious passing situation, I will just say that they're guessing pass to make it a little more realistic. But anyway, they're going to go long to the flanker. So Chuck Fusina is going to target Scott Fitzke on this. And they guessed wrong, and it's a 7. 7 on the San Francisco long pass defense is a -9. They sack. Oh, and now I remember what I was going to say. The timer is not going to be timed as normally in the game. There is 60. The average football game has 60 plays, and there are, I think, 30 of them, or maybe it's 60. I don't know. Whatever. What we're going to do is we're only going to move. We won't move the timer on kicks at all. And every play will just move 1. When it gets to the end of this sequence right here, that's the end of the first quarter or a quarter. And then once it starts up here and goes back to the end, that's the end of another quarter. And that's how we're going to do it. So anyway, they have a 2nd and 19 now. And they're going to go short to the split end this time. And they were right this time. And 9 on a short pass, San Francisco is receiver. So we will roll for the receiver. And let's see, that is the split end, and that is going to be Willie Collier. And that is a 4, and it's incomplete. So the Stars have a 3rd and 19, and they're just going to go end run with the halfback. And this would be an obvious passing situation, so we're just going to take the right and wrong die out of it, and they're going to guess pass. The San Francisco 49ers will be guessing pass. And that is a 9 on the end run defense, and that is going to be 2 yards. So the Stars didn't really do very well there. They have a 4th and 17, and they are going to punt the ball. The punter for Baltimore is Sean Landeta. You remember Sean Landeta. He gets a 7, which is a 42-yard punt. So 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, 40. And let's see, 42 back number 1. So the number 1 back, that is Trent Taylor, and we will roll to see what his return is. That's a 10, and 10 is a fair catch. So San Francisco is going to go into action right there at the 45-yard line, and they will have a 1st and 10 at their own 45. And let's see. What else we got to do here? We got to do something else. All right, anyway. Oh, yeah, we're going to go over their offense. The quarterback for San Francisco will be C.J. Beathard. He passed for 787 yards and a 63.5 completion percentage in 2020. Raheem Mostert will be the halfback. Kyle Juszczyk, I don't know how to pronounce that, will be the fullback. The flanker will be Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel will be at split end. And the tight end will be George Kittle. So they're going to go on 1st down, they're going to go end run with Mostert. And that is an 11, and there is an possible offensive penalty. But it's an 11 guessing right on end run on Mostert, which is only 3 yards. But let's see if there is a penalty on San Francisco. That is a 9, and it is opponent offsides. So that will be that will give San Francisco a 1st and 5 from midfield. 1st and 5, they're going to go off tackle with the fullback, whose name I can't pronounce, and that is a 5, and they're right. Off tackle is a fumble, -1, 2 to 9 or 12. And it is a fumble, and 2 to 6 or 12, they get it back. And they do, but they lose a yard. So now they have a 3rd and 6 coming up. They will do a short pass to the split end on 3rd and 6. And that is an 11 on a short pass, and they are wrong, and it's 16 yards. So now they're down to the 35-yard line, San Francisco is, with a 1st and 10, and they're going to go end run with Mostert again. And that is a 5, and they are wrong. Well, it doesn't matter, it's on their defense. End run 5 is a fumble, -2, 2 to 10. And it is a fumble, and 2 to 6 or 12, they get it back. San Francisco having trouble holding on to the ball, and they do get it back, but they lose 2 yards. So it's going to be a 2nd and 12 coming up for San Francisco. And they're going to go long to the flanker. So they will be targeting Brandon Ayuk on this one. And that is an 11, long pass 11, and the defense is right and it is incomplete. So it brings up a third and 12 for San Francisco. They're going to go back to the short pass to the split end. And that is a 4 short pass, and they were right. So it's incomplete. So San Francisco now from the 37-yard line of Baltimore. It's 2-5 good on a field goal. They're going to try it. They're going to try the field goal. And they just miss it. And so the Baltimore Stars will take over at their own 37-yard line. And they're going to go end run with the halfback that is Kevin Bryant. And that is a 6. There's a possible offensive penalty. 6 is a 5-yard gain, right or wrong, but let's roll for the offensive penalty. That is an 11. And 11 on their penalty card is number 6. And the penalty number 6 is... let's see. Illegal procedure, 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. So they are going to back up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they will have a 1st and 15 now. 1st and 15, they're going to go long. They're going to try to air it out again, long to the flanker. That is a 7, and it's a possible offensive penalty again. And 7 on their long pass, on San Francisco's long pass, is the -9 sack. Let's see what the possible penalty is. 3, opponent number 5. So this is going to be on San Francisco. And that is going to be holding 5 yards from the original line of scrimmage and an automatic first down. So they get a 1st and 10 from the 37 again, where they were originally. And they have a first down, and they're going to go end run with the halfback Kevin Bryant. Is it Kelvin? It's Kelvin Bryant. 7 end run. That is going to be, they're wrong. It's going to be a -1. Doesn't matter. So they've got a 2nd and 11 coming up. They're going to go short to the split end on 2nd and 11. That is an 8 on their defense, San Francisco defense, and it's a -9. So they have a 3rd and 20 coming up. They're going to launch it. They're going to go air it out to the flanker. It hasn't worked yet, but you got to figure one of these times it'll work. That is a 7 long pass on Facina, and that's incomplete no matter what. So they will have to punt. And again, Sean Landetta comes out, and he gets a 10. This time it's a terrible punt, 35 yards. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30, and 2. And this is going to be to back number 1. So back 1 on the punt return is again Trent Taylor. That is a 7, and that is referred to the specialist card for Baltimore on the punt return, and that's a 12-yard return. So again, good field position for San Francisco at midfield. They're going to go flat pass to the tight end. They're going to try some high percentage passing here. That is a 7 flat pass on Baltimore, is a short gain. And the short gain is a 6, and that is a 16-yard gain. So it's 1st and 10 for San Francisco from the 34-yard line of the Stars. And they're going to go end run with their halfback, Mostert. And that is an end run 8 on the defense. And it's a 2-yard gain. So they got a 2nd and 8. 2nd and 8, they're going to go flat again to the tight end. 2-8 is a, let's see, that's a receiver. And that is the tight end, which is George Kittle. And that's a 5 on Kittle's card, and they were wrong, and so it's a 17-yard gain. And that gives San Francisco a 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. And by the way, I want to point out, sometimes I'll roll these dice and I'll miss that it was a penalty. And in that case, we're just going to say that the referees missed the penalty. They didn't see it. So we got a 1st and 10 for San Francisco at the Baltimore 15, and they're going to do an end run with Mostert again. Back to Mostert, 6. End run on Baltimore's card is a 4-yard gain. So they got a 2nd and 6 from the 11. And they're going to go short to the split end. They're going to try to get it right here. 2nd and 6. They're not fooling around anymore. And that is a 4. And by the way, I guess you can't see the dice cup anyway. So, but anyway, that is a 4 short pass on Beathard's card. And they were right, so it's incomplete. So you've got I think this is 2nd and, no, it's 3rd and goal. 3rd and goal, wait, no, 3rd and 10 from the 11. I think it's 3rd and 10 from the 11. And they're going to go, again, they're going to go gunning for the end zone. They're going to go short to Kittle. Short to Kittle, 10 on the short pass for Baltimore is a long gain, and that's going to be a touchdown. No matter whatever you roll, it's going to be a touchdown. So they've got 7 points. San Francisco, that is. Well, they have to kick the extra point. And the extra point, they're going to bring Robbie Gould out. He only misses on 11. I'll roll it here so you can see it. It is good, up and good. And San Francisco strikes first with 7 points, and they will kick off. That is a kickoff 5, which is -9 in the end zone. So again, the Stars will they'll opt to start at the 20. They'll come out and do an end run with their halfback. That's Kelvin Bryant. And that is a 7 end run, and that's going to be a -1. So they're going to have a 2nd and 11, the Stars will. 2nd and 11, they're going to go off tackle with the fullback. And that is going to be a 10 with a possible offensive penalty. And they were right. So let's see. That would be a 2-yard gain, but let's see if there's an offensive penalty. That is a 9. A roll of 9 on their penalty card is opponent offsides. So that will give them 5 yards, and it will be 3rd and 6 for Baltimore. 3rd and 6 for Baltimore from their own 24-yard line. And they're going to go flat pass to the tight end. And that is a 2 flat pass on San Francisco's defense. And that's going to be 4 yards, 2 to 4, 11 or 12. And it is. It's 4 yards. And they just miss getting the first down. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have a 4th and 2. They're going to punt because they're too deep in their own territory to make the decision that they're not going to do that. So they do punt the ball, and it's an 8. So Landeta out again, 41-yard punt. 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, 40. Bring it back 1. The return is coming back from San Francisco's 31-yard line. And again, it is Trent Taylor. He's been busy. We have to re-roll that because it got kind of unreadable. 7, that's going to be on their card again, on the specialist card for Baltimore on the return. And that is going to be 12 yards just like it was before. So 4, 9, 10, 11, 12. And again, good field position for San Francisco at their own 43-yard line. And they're going to go end run with the halfback, Mostert. And that's going to be, they're wrong, and it's going to be a 6 on end run, and 6 on end run is 6 yards. So it's going to be a 2nd and 4. 2nd and 4, they're going to go line buck with the fullback, Joe Stick or G Stick or whatever his name is. I don't know how you pronounce that again. That is a 6 on line buck for the Baltimore defense, and that's going to be 6 yards and a first down. So San Francisco has a 1st and 10 from the Baltimore 45, and they're going to go end run with Mostert again. They're going back to Mostert. Mostert's been busy this half. 6 and let's see, 6 on end run for Baltimore is 4 yards. So they're getting some yards here. It's going to be 2nd and 6 for San Francisco. They're going to go line buck with the fullback again. They're going to run the ball. They're doing a diet of running here. 2-6 line bucket again. That's a 6-yard gain for the fullback, and it is a first down at the 35-yard line of Baltimore. They're going to go short to the split end. So Beathard drops back and passes. They are wrong, and it's a possible defensive penalty. 7, short pass, 7 is 11 yards, and it would be a first down. But let's see if there's a penalty on the defense and what that would be. That is a 9. 9 is opponent offsides. So that's going to back San Francisco up 5. And they're going to have a 3rd and 9. So yeah, 3rd and 9, I think. And so they're going to go short pass to the tight end Kittle. And that is a 9. Short pass 9 is going to be a receiver. So we will roll on Kittle's card. And that is a 3. 3 is, if they were right, it's incomplete. But if they're wrong, it's 10 yards and a first down. Now, this was the question mark, so we're going to have to see whether they are right or wrong. We'll pull out the chart, and that was a 3rd and 9, 1 to 4. They're guessing pass. So let's break that out. The 20-sided dice, and they were guessing pass. So it's incomplete, and they will have to punt because they can't kick a field goal from the 40-yard line. Which brings up the question, should they just go for it? But they're not going to. They're going to punt. So this is the first punt of the game for San Francisco. And that is an 8. Might help them out. Nope, it's 48. So that's going to be out of the back of the end zone. And again, the Stars will start at their own 20. And they're going to do a long pass. They started the game with that. They're going to go a long pass to the split end. And there's a possible offensive penalty and an 8 long pass. That is going to be a receiver. But first, before we even roll on the receiver's card, let's see if there is a penalty on Baltimore. That is a 9. That is going to be opponent offsides. So let's roll on the split end and see what he ends up getting, right? The split end, yeah. And that's, and that is Willie Collier. And that's a 7. It's a long gain because they were wrong. So we'll roll the long gain. And that is a 4. And that's going to be 55 yards. And so they will take that. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 5. And they have a 1st and 10 at San Francisco's 25. And they're going to go line buck with their fullback, who is Alan Harvin. I think he was in the NFL. And that is an 8 line buck on the San Francisco defense, and that's going to be 0 yards. So it's going to be 2nd and 10, and we are approaching the end of the first quarter. Going to be an end run with the halfback Kelvin Bryant on 2nd and 10, and he gets a 4. End run 4 on the San Francisco defense is 7 yards, and that brings up 3rd and 3 for Baltimore. And they're going to go line buck with the fullback, 3rd and 3. And that is going to be a 9 where they're wrong and a possible offensive penalty. So let's see. A 9 wrong is the 3 yards for the first down. But if there was a penalty on them, they get an 11, and it's a number 6, and it will be a penalty on them. And I think that is a illegal procedure 5 yards. So they lose 5, and it's going to be 3rd and 8. So 3rd and 8, they're going to go short pass to the split end. Baltimore will, from the San Francisco 23. And that is a 10. Short pass 10 on San Francisco is incomplete. And this is the start of the second. They are at the 23, so we'll move the ball back to the other end, and it'll be 4th down for them from the 23-yard line, and they're going to send out their field goal kicker. The field goal kicker for Baltimore was David Trout, and he is at the 23. That's a 2-6 good, and it isn't. He just misses it, and so San Francisco will take over at their 23-yard line, and they're going to air it out. They're going to go long to the flanker with Beathard. That's right. That's what they're doing. And it's going to be a 5 long pass on the Baltimore defense, and it's going to be a -7 sack. So it's going to be 2nd and 17 for San Francisco, and they're going to go end run with Mostert. 2nd and 17, and they're running the ball. And that is going to be an 8, end run 8 with Mostert is a 2-yard gain, but we'll have to roll on the chart and see what they were guessing. Wait a minute, do we? Yeah, we do, because it'll be 2 yards if they're wrong. It'll be -7 if they're right. That is a 2, and they are guessing pass. So they were wrong, and it is only 2 yards. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 15 for San Francisco. And they're going to go short to the split end. Short to the split end, possible offensive penalty, and wrong. So 12 on the San Francisco defense long is a sack. So this is all kinds of bad for San Francisco. Wait a minute. What was that? Short pass on the Baltimore defense. It's -7 sack, so it's still all kinds of bad. Offensive penalty possibility is a 4. Number 3. So let's see what number 3 is for the penalty when they're passing. That is holding 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, but Baltimore is going to refuse that penalty, and it's going to bring up a 4th and quite a bit, 4th and like 15 or 13 or whatever. They're going to punt, doesn't matter. So they bring out their punting unit, San Francisco does, and that's going to be Mitch Wischowski is the punter, and he punts it 49 yards back 1. So 3, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 6, and Baltimore is returning from their own 34-yard line. And the returner, number 1, or the only one, is Garcia Lane. And that is a 9, and that's going to be 7 yards. So San Francisco has a 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line. They finally start with some good field position. They're going to go end run with a halfback, Kelvin Bryant. And the defense is right. So 6 on an end run. It's 5 yards. It's a double 5 yard. Doesn't matter. So it's going to be 2nd and 5 for them. And they're going to go linebacker with their fullback, Alan Harvin. And that's going to be an 11 and wrong. So what was this? A line buck, 11. Wrong is 6 yards. It's a double 6, so it's a 1st down. They keep moving the ball. They keep moving, and they're down by 7. It's only 7-0 here. End run with the halfback, Kelvin Bryant. We're going back to Kelvin Bryant, probably overusing him a little bit. He's going to be winded. So that is a 4. End run, and it's a possible defensive penalty, though, but they were wrong. That's a short gain. But let's see if there was a defensive penalty on San Francisco. 9 is opponent offsides. So they actually are going to lose yards. They were offsides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that's going to be like a 3rd and 9. So they're going to go short to the split end on 3rd and 9. That is a 5. They are wrong. Oh, it doesn't matter, but there's a possible offensive penalty. So let's roll for the offensive penalty first. Well, Let's see what 5 is. 5 on short pass is receiver. So we'll look at the split end as soon as we determine whether they actually have a penalty. And they do. Number 2. Baltimore has a penalty. Pass offense 2 is holding 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. So they're going to be backed up 10, and now they have a... It doesn't matter. We're not going to check for the result. They're going to go long to the flanker because they've got like a 3rd and forever. That is a 10 long pass, and that is... They were right. It's going to be intercepted 2-4. It is not. It isn't intercepted, but it's incomplete. And so Baltimore has to punt. Baltimore just cannot get anything going on this San Francisco defense. They send the punter out, and he gets a 49-yard punt off, back number 2. So 4, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 5. Return from their own 15 for San Francisco, which is going to be Richie James Jr. And that is a 7. That's going to be on the Baltimore special team card, and that's a 12-yard return. So they're going to have a 1st and 10 at their own 26. They're going to go end run with Mostert. Whoa. End run Mostert. That's a 5. Possible offensive penalty, and they were right. So a whole bunch of bad there. It would be 0 yards and a 2 to 9 or 12 they fumble. But, and yeah, let's see if they do. 11. They don't fumble. They get 0 yards. So let's see what the penalty would be. That is an 11, and 11 is no penalty. So they just get 0 yards there. But still, that's not very good. They've got a 2nd and 10. They're going to go short to the split end. And that is a 6 short pass. And that's going to be a 14-yard gain and a 1st down. 3, 10, 1. They're going to go end run with Mostert. The halfbacks are getting a good workout here. That is a 10. We have to determine whether they're looking for it or not, but it's a possible defensive penalty too. All right, so let's do one thing at a time. 10 on an end run on their defense is a 5-yard gain. But let's see if there's a defensive penalty, and that is a 6. 6 on San Francisco. Oh, wait a minute. Or 6 on Baltimore is no penalty, so there is a 5-yard gain. So San Francisco has a 2nd and 5. 2nd and 5, they're going to go line buck with the fullback, the guy I can't pronounce his name, and that is a 7 line buck on Jershnik, and they are right. And it's going to be 0 yards. So that brings up 3rd and 5 for San Francisco. And they're going to go flat pass to Kittle. Flat pass to Kittle, 6. And that is going to be 8 yards and a 1st down. 4:15 left in the half. They're going to go end run with the halfback, Mostert. He's had a couple of plays off now. He can't complain. That is an 8, possible defensive penalty, and they were wrong. So 8 end run on Mostert, wrong, is 2 yards. But let's see if there was a defensive penalty on San Francisco. That is an 11, and there wasn't. So he gets 2 yards. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's going to be a 2nd and 8 coming up. And I got to get the down markers and the 10-yard marker when I do the second half. So I'm doing the best I can here to try to remember what's going on. But anyway, 2nd and 8. They're going to go long pass to the flanker. Beathard. He's airing it out this half. That is a 6. Long pass 6. That might be picked off. It is 2 to 6. It'll be an interception. 7. It isn't. It's incomplete. So it's going to be a 3rd and 8 for San Francisco. And from the 44-yard line of, is it from the 44? I think it is from the 44-yard line. They're going to go end run with the halfback. No, wait a minute. No, 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8, they're going to go flat to Kittle. Flat pass to Kittle. And that's going to be a 10. Let's see, flat pass 10. If they're wrong, it's a question mark, so I got to refer to the chart for 3rd and 8, and it's an 8. Let's see, 1 to 16, they're looking for the pass. So let me roll the dice. And it's a 17, they were looking for the run. So it is a 9-yard gain, and it'll be a first down. So it's a first down from the, oh, wait a minute. No, it was going the other way. So, and then a 9-yard gain is 6, 9. So it's 1st and 10 for San Francisco from the Baltimore 47-yard line. And they're going to go flat to Kittle again. Flat to Kittle, and it is 3 on flat pass on the Baltimore defense, and that's going to be -2. So it's 2nd and 12. 3:15 left in the half. They're going to go end run with the halfback, Mostert. And that is a 7 end run on the Baltimore defense. And that's only going to be a yard. He gets a yard of it back, and it's 3rd and 11. 3rd and 11, they're going to long. They're going to go long to the split end. Long pass 5 on the Baltimore defense. And that's a -7 sack. 3 minutes left, 4th down, they're going to punt the ball. San Francisco will. It is a 5 on the punt, which is 54 back 2. So that's going to go down to the 1-yard line. And back number 2. And back number 2 on the punt. There's only one, it's Garcia Lane, and that is a bad roll. We're going to re-roll it. That is a 9. 9 is a 7-yard gain. So it's out to the 8 for Baltimore with terrible field position. Still 3 minutes left. They're going to go end run with their end run halfback 7 is 1 yard. So that brings up a 2nd and 9. They're going to go short to the split end. Short to the split end, and they are right, and it's a 7. And that's going to be a 10-yard gain. So it's a first down. 2:30 left in the half. They're going to air it out. They're going to go long to the flanker. Long to the flanker 6. And they were wrong. And that's going to be receiver. So we roll on the flanker's card. That is Scott Fitzke. That is a 6. And that's going to be 26 yards. 1, 15, and 10, and it's at the 45. 2:15 left in the half. They're going to go short to the split end. Short pass to the split end 10, and they're right. And that's going to be intercepted plus 12, 2-3. It is intercepted 12 yards. So 4, 10, back it off 2, and we will roll for the interception return. And that's a 5. It's a 20-yard return. 3, 13, 7. And so now San Francisco has it on a critical error at the 2-minute warning, so time will not move on this next play. They're going to go long pass. They're going to try to pop it in right now and take a commanding 14-0 lead. And I say commanding because if you've been watching this half, you would know it's going to be a commanding lead. But 6, possible offensive penalty though, and we have to roll to see what they were guessing. And they were guessing run. So they were wrong, and possible offensive penalty, but let's see what 6 is. 6 on long pass is receiver. Let's see, first of all, though, if they have an offensive penalty. They don't. So let's see if what the receiver's card says. That is an 11 on the flanker. Flanker 11 wrong is on long pass is incomplete. Time didn't move because that was the 2-minute warning. They're going to go end run with Mostert. End run with the halfback 9. They're going to have to look at the card, but it's a possible offensive penalty too. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. End run 9 is a -1 yard. Because it's on the defense, we don't have to roll for that. But let's see if there was an offensive penalty on San Francisco 8. There wasn't. So that brings up a 3rd down, and I think it's 3rd and 10. So they're going to go flat to the tight end. That's a 10 flat pass, and that is going to be 3 yards. They don't get the first down. There's 1:30 left. They're at the 35-yard line. They're going to try a field goal from there. It's 2-5 good, and I'll roll it here, and it is good. So San Francisco tacks on to their lead, makes it 10-0. And they are going to kick off. They'll kick off 9, and that is -3 in the end zone. They'll take it on the 20. So they can't get good field position. Baltimore can't, to save their lives. They're going to go end run with the halfback. They're going to try to just go into halftime down 10 and hope that they can regroup. That is a 5. Unfortunately, that is going to be a possible fumble. Kelvin Bryant, they were right, so it's 0 yards, 2-5 or 2-3. He fumbles. He doesn't, and he gets 0 yards. And they're going to go off tackle with the fullback, Alan Harvin. That is a 6 off tackle, and that's going to be 9 yards because they were wrong, which brings up a 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1, they're going to go line buck with the quarterback. It's going to be a quarterback sneak here. Quarterback sneak 7. Possible defensive penalty. San Francisco's line buck is 1 yard. They would get it, but let's see if there's a defensive penalty on San Francisco. That is a 9. It's opponent offsides, so that's costly. Back it up 5, and San Francisco now has a 3rd and 6 instead of a 3rd and 1. They're going to go flat to their tight end. Flat pass to the tight end. That is an 8. Flat pass on San Francisco is receiver. They were wrong. And the tight end is Ken Dunick. 3. Flat pass wrong is 12 yards. They're going to call a timeout here, so time won't move, and they're going to go long to the flanker. That is an 11. 11 and a long pass, and possible defensive penalty and wrong. It's going to be a 28-yard gain, and we'll roll for the defensive penalty. That is a 5. And it's offsides on San Francisco, but they'll refuse it. Baltimore will refuse it and take the 28 yards. 4, 10, 20, and 4. They've got a first down and 10 at the 36. They're going to take their second time out, so time won't move again. And they're going to go long this time to the split end. And this time we're going to say they're looking for it. They were anyway, but a possible offensive penalty, that might hurt. 10 long, it might not because it was picked off. But anyway, 2-4, it is intercepted. That is not intercepted. It's incomplete, but let's see if they had a penalty too on top of that. 6, they didn't have a penalty. So it's just an incomplete pass. Now we're going to say that San Francisco, Baltimore's taking their 3rd and final timeout, so time won't move again. And San Francisco is looking for the pass on this one. We're not even going to roll that die. And they're going long to the flanker. And that's going to be a 4 on long pass for Facina, and that's a must run. So Facina has been flushed from the pocket, and he gets a 6, which is a 6-yard gain. And now I think they have a 4th down at the 30. And kicking a field goal from there is 2-6 good. They're going to try it. They don't make it. And so San Francisco is going back the other way. And they're just going to go line buck with the fullback. And that is going to be an 11. And let's see if they were right or wrong. They were right. 11 line buck is 4 yards. And there is going to be one more play for the half, and they're going to go end run with the halfback Mostert. And that is a 7 end run on the Baltimore defense, is only a yard. And that is it. That's the end of the first half, with San Francisco leading this one 10-0 over Baltimore. Hello, football fans. We're back for the second half of the San Francisco 49ers of 2020, taking on the 1985 Baltimore Stars, led by Chuck Facina. Currently, at the half, it is San Francisco 10, Baltimore nothing. So we will get on with the second half. And the only differences I have in the lineups is I put Jeff Wilson in at halfback for the 49ers, since Mostert was getting his fill of usage in the first half. And I put Gary Worthy in at halfback for Baltimore because Kelvin Bryant was also getting quite overused in that first half. So those are the only two changes. The Baltimore Raven, or not the Baltimore Raven, the Baltimore Stars of 1985's USFL received the opening kickoff, so San Francisco will receive the second half kickoff. So Baltimore is kicking off to them, and it's an 8, and that's a touchback. So it's a 1st and 10 for the 49ers from their 20. And they're going to do an end run. They're up 10, so they really don't need to be overly concerned right now. They're going to do an end run with the new halfback, Jeff Wilson. And that is a 5, and it is going to be a possible offensive penalty. We have to check and see on the chart what it would have been, but whether they were looking for it or not. But let's see if there's an offensive. Well, let's resolve the play first. So Jeff Wilson has, let's see, we're going to roll the dice because it had the question mark, so that means we have to refer to the chart. And they were looking for the pass, so they weren't looking for Jeff Wilson to be running the ball, which is very good because he got a 0. But he also possibly fumbled. Fumble 0, 2 to 6, or 11, or 12. He does fumble. He gets it back 2 to 6 or 12. He doesn't get it back. So let's see if there was an offensive penalty that refers us to the defense, because there was a possible penalty there. There wasn't. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Stars in San Francisco's end, and they couldn't have hoped for anything much better than that. They're going to go off tackle with the fullback, Alan Harvin. And that is a 6. Off tackle is a 3-yard gain. So it's going to be 2nd and 7 for the Stars, and they're going to go short to the split end. Whoa. Short pass to the split end for possible offensive penalty, and they were wrong. So that's going to be incomplete, the result of the play, and let's see if they had a penalty. 9. It's opponent offsides. So it's going to be a 5-yard penalty. And it's going to be now a 2nd and 3. 2nd and 3 for the Stars. And they're going to go end run with Gary Worthy. his first run of the game. First touch of the game, first run of the game, 8 end run. San Francisco is nothing. So he gets no yards, and now that brings up 3rd down and 3. And they're going to go short to the tight end. And that is a 9 on the short pass for Facina. And that is going to be an 11-yard gain down to the 2. Down to the 2-yard line. 1st and goal from the 2. And they're going to go off tackle with the fullback, Alan Harbin. And that is a 3 off tackle, Alan Harbin. And they were right. It doesn't matter. It's a touchdown for the Stars. And they will come out for the extra point. David Trout misses on a 12, and that is a 7, so he does not miss. And so, San Francisco is now only ahead by 3 as Baltimore took advantage of the San Francisco turnover and got 7 of their own, and now they will kick off. That is a 6 on the kickoff, which is to the 8, number 1. So they are returning, San Francisco is returning it from the 8 with their number 1 back, who is Jerick McKinnon. I'm going to re-roll that. That is a 6, and it's going to be an 18-yard return. So out to the 26-yard line. 1st and 10 for San Francisco from the 26. And they're going to come out and go long to the flanker. Now, if you recall, in the first half, Beathard has tried this many times and it hasn't worked, but they're going to go right back to it. And it's a 3 long pass on the Baltimore defense. And it's going to be a sack for -9, and it still hasn't worked. You would think that they would figure that out, but no. They're going to go short to the split end because they have to try to get some of those yards back, so it's 2nd and 19. That is a 7, and they're wrong. Short pass, 7 is 11 yards. And it would have been whether they were right or wrong or inside out. So it is a 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8 for San Francisco, and they're going to go flat pass to the tight end. And that is a 9, and they were right, and I would have said they would have been right anyway, but there's a possible defensive penalty. But first, let's resolve the flat pass 9. Which is a receiver, and we will look at Kittle's card for that, and it's a 6. 6 Kittle, right, is 9 yards. So they would pick up the first down. Let's see if there was a defensive penalty or whatever, turned it over to them or whatever. 10 is opponent number 2, so it is going to be a penalty on San Francisco, and they, let's see, number 2 is holding 10 yards from the original line of scrimmage. So that's going to be a 3rd and forever there. And they're just going to go end run with their halfback, Jeff Wilson. And that is a 6 end run, and that's going to be a short gain. Let's see what they can get out of that. Oh, 12. That's not good. I mean, it's not a lot of yards. It's going to be only 10 yards. So they basically got that yardage back, but it really doesn't matter. So they've got a 4th and forever, and they're going to punt. Ooh, he gets off a booming punt. Wischowski gets off a 60-yard punt. So 2, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then back it off 2. And they're going to return with the number two back. And that is a 9, which is a 27-yard return. 3, 10, 20, and 4. So Baltimore has it 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. 1st and 10. And they're going to go long. Facina's going to air it out to the split end on 1st and 10. And that is a 7. We'll re-roll the guess, and that's going to be on the chart. But anyway, 7 is incomplete either way. And let's see if there was a defensive penalty, because there is a possible defensive penalty. But there isn't. So it's going to be 2nd and 10. And that's going to be an end run for the halfback, Gary Worthy. The new halfback coming in for this half, Gary Worthy, gets a 4. And again, with the we don't know, so we have to refer to the chart. That's going to, they were looking for the pass, so they were not looking for the run. And possible offensive penalty. But let's look at the 4. That's going to be 6 yards. 6 yards if Baltimore doesn't have a penalty. 8, they don't. So it's going to be a 6-yard gain. And they have a 3rd and 4. 3rd and 4, they're going to go line buck with Allen Harvin. Line buck 8, and that's going to be on the San Francisco defense, and that's only going to be 0 yards. They don't get any yards out of that, so they got a 4th down, and they're going to have to punt. That is a 10 on the punt, which is 35 yards and back number 1. So 10, 20, 30, and 5. San Francisco is returning from their 20-yard line. And that is a 2. What is that going to be? That's going to be 21 yards. 10, 20, and 1. So good field position for San Francisco. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 41-yard line. They're going to go short pass to the split end. The longs aren't working out for Beathard. Now that is an 11. Short pass 11, and we have to refer to the chart to see whether they're right or wrong, and they are looking for the pass. So that is going to be incomplete. And there was a possible defensive penalty, though, so let's roll for that. 11. 11 on their defense is number 6. So number 6 on the passing defense is illegal contact 5 yards from the original line of scrimmage and a 1st down. So that's going to be a 1st and 10 from there. They're going to go end run with their halfback, Jeff Wilson. And that is going to be an 8. End run 8 is a +2, so they get 2 yards. 2nd and 8. 2nd and 8, they're going to go line buck with the fullback, Allen Harvin. Or, no, this is San Francisco. Kyle Jashuvik. the guy, I can't pronounce his name. And that is a 9 on line buck on the Baltimore line buck card, and that is going to be 4 yards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5. They're going to go flat to Kittle. And that is a 6. Flat pass is going to be 8 yards and a first down. So it's 1st and 10 for San Francisco at the Baltimore 40-yard line. And they're going to go line buck with the fullback, Kyle J. 4 line buck, and they are not right. So that's going to be 7 yards. And that brings up a 2nd and 3. Second and 3, they're going to go end run with Gary Worthy, or end run with their halfback, which is Jeff Wilson. And that's a 5, and it is not looking for it, but it's going to be a fumble 0, 2 to 6, 11 or 12. He doesn't fumble, so it's a 0-yard gain, and it is going to be 3rd and 3. And they're going to go flat to Kittle. And that is a 7 flat pass. It is going to be a short gain. And that is a 9 on short gain, which is 13 yards and a first down for San Francisco. And they will have a 1st and 10 at the Baltimore 20. And they're going to go short pass to the split end. First down. And that is an 8. They were right. Possible offensive penalty. 8 is, let's see if they were right. So it's incomplete. And let's see if there was an offensive penalty on them. 8. No. So it's just incomplete. It's 2nd and 10 from the 20. They're going to go end run with Jeff Wilson. And that's going to be a 3. End run 3, and they were wrong. That's going to be 5-yard gain. So it's going to be 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5 for San Francisco from the Baltimore 15. They're going to go short to the split end. Short pass to the split end 4. And they were wrong. So that would be a short, wait a minute, it would be a 15-yard, it'd be a 15-yard gain, but there's a possible defensive penalty, which could turn into the other teams, but it isn't. So it's a 15-yard touchdown pass by Becker, and San Francisco is up 17-7. Well, pending the extra point. Let's kick the extra point. He misses on 11. He doesn't miss, so it is 17-7. And San Francisco will kick off. And that is an 11. On the kickoff, it's a touchback. So Baltimore has a 1st and 10 at the 20. And they're going to go short pass to the flanker. Short to the flanker 7. And that is a 13-yard gain. So it's going to be 1st and 10. They're going to go short to the tight end. Short pass to the tight end, 8. They were right, though, so it's incomplete. And it's going to be 2nd and 10. They're going to go end run with the halfback, and this time it is Gary Worthy. And that is going to be a 3-end run, and that's probably a short gain. It is a short gain. We will roll for that. That is a 9, so I think that's, yeah, well, it's 13 yards. So 2, 10, and 1. Another first down for Baltimore. Now Baltimore in this half, they've been able to move the ball, whereas they really weren't in the first half. They're going to go off tackle with the fullback, Allen Harvin. And that is a 6 off tackle on the San Francisco defense, and that's 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Going to go end run with the halfback. Back to Gary Worthy. That is a 10. 10 wrong on end run is 9 yards, but let's see, there's a possible offensive penalty. 6. And 6 I don't think is, no, it isn't. So it is going to be 9 yards and a first down. So Baltimore has a 1st and 10 from the San Francisco 41. And they're going to try a long pass right now. Now they think it's a good time to try the long pass. It is a 6 long pass on the defense, and it's going to be intercepted 2 to 5 or 12. I guess it wasn't a good time. It isn't intercepted, though. It's incomplete. So it's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 41, and they're going to go end run with Gary Worthy. And that is an 11, end run 11. And that's going to be a 7-yard gain. So it's going to be 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3, they're going to go flat to the tight end. And that is a 2 flat pass on the defense. It's going to be a 4-yard gain, 2 to 4, 11, or 12. It is a 4-yard gain and a first down. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for Baltimore at the San Francisco 30. And this will be the last play of the third quarter. It's going to be an end run with Gary Worthy. Now Gary Worthy's being overworked. And that is an 8, and they're wrong with a possible offensive penalty. It would be a 6-yard gain, but let's see if there's an offensive penalty on Baltimore. 8. There isn't, so it's going to be a 6-yard gain. And it's going to be 2nd and 4, and we have started the fourth quarter. 2nd and 4, they're going to go flat pass to their tight end. Flat to the tight end, 9 on the defense. And that's going to be the receiver when they are right. And that is a 6, flat pass 6. It's incomplete. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the presses. No, it isn't. It's 7 yards. And it will be a first down. 1st and 10 for Baltimore from the 17 of San Francisco. And they're going to go short pass to the split end on 1st and 10. And that is a 5 short pass. And that's going to be receiver. We have to see if he was right or wrong. They were, let's see, 1st and 10. So they were wrong. I think they were wrong. Let's see. They were wrong. Yeah. So a 2, a short pass to the split end, is going to be incomplete. Unreal. It's going to be 2nd and 10. They're going to go end run with Gary Worthy. And that's going to be a 2-10 wrong. And that's going to be a 9-yard gain. So they've got a 3rd and 1 coming up, and they're going to go line buck with the quarterback. Quarterback sneak with Facina. And that is going to be a 9 with a possible offensive penalty. Let's see, and they were wrong. It's going to be a yard, and it will get them the 1st down, except they have a possible offensive penalty. 10. It's opponent number 2. And opponent number 2 on a run is personal foul 15 yards from concluding line of scrimmage and a 1st down. But that's going to be half the distance because it will. So they're going to get a 1, and then they're going to get from the 7, they're going to get down to the 4. So it's going to be a 1st and goal from the 4 for Baltimore. And they're going to go short pass to the split end. And that's going to be a 6, and they're right. And let's see, short pass 6 is going to be incomplete. Didn't matter, but their possible offensive penalty for number 2. So they do have a penalty. And that's going to be holding 10 yards from the original line of scrimmage. So they'll be out at the 14 now with a 1st and goal. And they're going to go end run with the halfback. End run with the halfback 6. Not good. That's going to be, oh no, it is, that's not bad. 4 yards. So it's going to be 2nd and goal. I think it's going to be 3rd. I think it's actually 3rd and goal. So 3rd and goal from the 10. And they're going to go short to the tight end. Short pass to the tight end 2. And that's going to be 12 yards 2. 2, they'll get a 12-yard gain. Otherwise, no, and they don't. So it's incomplete. That brings up 4th down. They will try to kick a field goal from the 10. And a field goal from the 10 for them is 2-10 good. And it is barely good. Just goes through, and it gets Baltimore 3. And now the score is 17-10. And all of a sudden, all the scoring is being done in this half. That is to say, not all of the scoring, really, but they're doing a lot better at moving the ball and scoring than they did. Kickoff for Baltimore. 6 is to the 8, number 1. And the number 1 back returning it for San Francisco. That is a 6, and that is going to be 18 yards again. And we're going to, let's see, 2-10 10, 15, 8. So it'll be 1st and 10 for them at the 25, but they're going the other way. They're at the 26. But they're going the other way because we are now in the 4th quarter. I didn't switch it before. But anyway, 1st and 10 for San Francisco at the 26. They're going to go with an end run. End run, Jeff Wilson. And that's going to be an 8. And we have to see if they guessed it or not. They did not. Oh, they did. They did guess it right. Okay, so 8 end run guessed right is 0 yards. So it's going to be 2nd and 10 for San Francisco. They're going to go off tackle with the fullback, who is Kyle J. Kyle Scrabble. And he gets an 8, and they're wrong. 8 off tackle is 0 yards. So now it's going to be 3rd and 10. And they're going to go flat to Kittle. See if he can get to 10 yards. That is an 11. Flat pass 11. And that's going to be 23 yards, and Kittle does get it. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for the 49ers at their own 49-yard line. And now he's going to try long again. Beathard, they're going to try Beathard long again. And they're wrong, but there's a possible offensive penalty and an 11 on the long pass, which would be 30 yards, 2 to 6. Let's see. It is going to be 30 yards if there isn't an offensive penalty. The 49ers, and I don't think there is. There isn't, so it's going to be a 30-yard gain. 10, 20, 30, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for the 49ers at the 19-yard line of Baltimore. And just when Baltimore thought they were getting back into this game, they're not. So let's see. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the 21. End run. They're going to go end run with the halfback. 7, and they were guessed right. And that's going to be -8. He loses 8 yards. Wow. Running around in the backfield, and he just couldn't get away. It's going to be 2nd and 18. They're going to go short to the split end. Short to the split end, 8. Possible defensive penalty. But let's see what short pass 8 is. That's -9. That's what I figured. They got sacked. But let's see if there was a defensive penalty on them. 5. It was offsides. So they're going to get a 5-yard penalty, or a 5-yard penalty pickup, and now it's going to be 2nd and 13. And they're going to go end run with a halfback on 2nd and 13. And that's going to be a 4. That is an end run 4, and that's going to be 6 yards. So now it's going to be 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8, they're going to go short pass to the split end. They're in field goal range, but let's see what happens. Short pass 5, right. And that's going to be a must run. So Beathard is out on his own trying to run. And that is a 9, which is a fumble 0. 2 to 6 or 12, they get it back. They don't. So Beathard, he was flushed from the pocket, and he got no yards. And Baltimore picked it up, and fortuitously for them, because time is ticking down. There's only 3:45 left in the game. They have a 1st down. They have easily enough time to work the ball down the field, though. They're going to go end run with their halfback. They are only down by a touchdown. 4 end run. And they're wrong. And that's going to be 6 yards. So it's 2nd and 4. They're going to go line buck with the fullback. Line buck with the fullback 6. That's going to be 5 yards and a first down. First down for Baltimore at 30, at their own 30. They're going to go short pass to the flanker. Short to the flanker 4. They were wrong. Possible defensive penalty. Now that would be a must. Oh, wait a minute. No, it would be incomplete. But let's see if there was a defensive penalty. 6. There wasn't. So it's incomplete. So it's going to be 2nd down. Yeah, so I think it's 2nd down. 2nd and 10. They're going to go end run with the halfback. That is a 7, and they're right. That's 0 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 10. 2:45 left. They're going to throw a short pass to the split end. Short to the split end 11. Possible defensive penalty, but let's see what the short pass is. It's a long gain. So let's see, before we look at the long gain, let's see if there was a defensive penalty, which really, if it would be, nope, there wasn't. So we're going to roll for the long gain, and let's see what that is. It's a 7. 7 on long gain is 38 yards. 38-yard pickup. 10, 20, 30, and 8. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for Baltimore from the 32 of San Francisco. Now, they need a touchdown. They can't settle for a field goal. They're going to go end run with the halfback. And that is a 10. And 10 end run is -4. They're going to go long pass to the flanker. 2nd and 14. That is a 5. And 5 on long pass is incomplete. And time won't move on this next play. It's 3rd and 14. And they're going to go short to the flanker. Short to the flanker. San Francisco is looking for it. We're not even going to roll that dice. And it's an 8, short pass. Looking for it, it's incomplete. So that brings up 4th down. 4th down from the 36. They can kick a field goal. They can, but it's only 2 to 3 good. They're going to, right there, they might as well go for it. And San Francisco's going to look for the pass again. And they're going to do a long pass to the split end. Long to the split, 6, is intercepted, 2 to 5 or 12. 10, it's incomplete though. So it'll be a 1st and 10 for San Francisco going the other way from their own 36. Time didn't move on that, but there's 2 minutes left. They're going to go end run with the halfback. They just need to eat up the clock. So there's going to be a 5-8. Possible offensive penalty, though. But 8 on end run is 2 yards. Let's see if they had a penalty, though. That is an 8. No, they did not. So 2 yards, and that's going to be 2nd and 8. Time didn't move on that because it was the 2-minute warning. They're going to go off tackle with the fullback. Off tackle with the fullback, 5. That's a possible fumble. Fumble-eye and a possible defensive penalty. But 5, off tackle with the fullback is fumble -1, 2 to 9 or 12. He does fumble 2 to 6 or 12. They get it back. They do get it back. But it is -1. And let's see if there was a defensive penalty on Baltimore. 10. Opponent number 2. All right, let's see what that is. That's going to be holding 10 yards from the original line of scrimmage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's going to be 2nd and a lot. And Baltimore will call their first timeout. And they will do an end run with a halfback. And that is an 8 and a possible offensive penalty, and they were right. It's -2. And offensive penalty 8? No. So they lose 2 more. And time didn't move because Baltimore called their first timeout. They're going to call their second timeout right here. And it's going to be 3rd and a lot. They're going to go long to the split end because they need to get that back. They want to get that back. 5, long pass. Wrong. Oh, no, they would be right. We're going to say they were right and they would be looking for it. 5, long pass, right is must run. So Beathard has been flushed from the pocket. Now remember, he can fumble. He doesn't there, though. It's a 6-yard gain. So they're going to punt from there. Baltimore called their timeout, their second timeout, I think. So they're just going to punt, and it's a 10. Not a good punt. 41 back 1. So 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, 40. Returning from the 26. Back number 2 on the kickoff. That is an 11. And that's going to be 33 yards. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for Baltimore at the 41 of San Francisco. And they're going to use their last timeout, and they're going to go short to the flanker. And San Francisco is only looking for the pass. They don't care. They can run all day if they want. And that's going to be a 6. 6 short pass might be picked off. No, it's incomplete. And that was their last time out. So now time has to move. And San Francisco is certainly not going to stop it. They're going to go short to the split end. And that is a 6, and it's going to be incomplete. And now it's going to be 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10, they're going to go short to the tight end. And that is an 8. Short pass 8 is, looking for is incomplete. And this brings up a 4th and 10. They got to go for it. San Francisco knows they have to be passing. And that is an 11. Short pass 11 is a long gain. Are you kidding me? Let's see if they can score a touchdown on that. I think they can. 6. 6 is 35 yards. No, but they do have a first down. 10, 20, 30, and 5, and they have a first down at the 6 with only a minute left and no timeouts. They're going to go short to the split end, and we will bring the dice in now this time to see whether San Francisco looking for it. That's going to be a 5. Short pass 5. And we have to see whether they were looking for it or not. They were looking for the pass, so short pass 5 looking for it is must run. Facina, he's out. He's being scrambling. He's scrambling in the backfield. He's running out. It's an 8, and it's a 3-yard gain. So it is 2nd and goal. 2nd and goal. They're going to go end run with the halfback. And that is an 11, and they're wrong. So let's see. End run 11, wrong. It's 0 yards, unreal. So it's going to be 3rd and goal. 3rd and goal, they're going to go short to the split end. Now, if you're familiar with Strat-O-Matic football, you can't call a flat pass this close to the end zone. So it has to be short. It's an 8. 8 short pass is -9. And this is going to be the last play of the game. Potentially, they're going to go short pass. No, they got to go long. Well, no, they can go short. They're going to go short pass to the flanker. And again, San Francisco would be looking for that. They're not going to think that they would run. And that is a 4 short pass, wrong. And it's incomplete. And that is the game. The game ends 17-10 San Francisco. And that's going to be it for me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, signing off.